Dr. McGee, the Board of Trustees has called you to be the 24th President of Quincy University. This call to leadership challenges you to safeguard, nurture, and herald the mission of our university community, building confidently and creatively on our history and our heritage.
Board of Trustee President Del Mitchell announces QU's 24th president in a formal ceremony. Hello everyone, I'm Taylor King.
And I'm Alexa Lowe. Religious leaders, city officials, and community leaders joined in the inauguration celebration at the St. Francis Solanus Chapel. Brian McGee has been at QU since July 1st and has been working to further the QU mission since then.
Many of my favorite QU moments in these first 7+ months have involved students, not surprisingly, as when the men of Delta Tau Delta invited me over to eat hot wings, when the softball team indulged me in a few practice at-bats, where I've taken many a late-night run through campus, or when I've sat in with a chorus rehearsal or pep band performance. You were very tolerant. Thank you.
Student choirs sang at the event, and the Bishop of the Diocese gave the closing prayer. The inauguration capped a week of celebration events, including a service project, a late-night run, and a mass. McGee is the third layperson to become president of the university.
The coronavirus is causing concern on campus, but right here today, QU President Brian McGee joins us and to see what we're going to, keep us safe with the coronavirus. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. Happy to be here.
Yes, great to have you. So, Dr. McGee, this virus has been a huge international epidemic. So what are the steps that QU is taking to ensure that our students are safe?
The first and most important thing to remember is that we've had no reports of outbreaks anywhere close to Quincy, Illinois. At the moment, our goal is to follow the advice we receive from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, from the American College Health Association, and from the state of Illinois, and from Adams County here in Illinois, in order to make sure everyone is safe. There are a series of steps that are recommended, and many of those were in the email I sent to our campus community on Monday. And those boil down to sleep well, stay safe by getting a good night's sleep and resting, wash your hands frequently, and we've provided advice for that, just like the same advice that would have been provided a generation ago.
Right.
And if you travel anywhere where there might have been any kind of exposure, we're going to want to talk to you about that.
Right.
And so all of our students have been asked to give us information about where they're traveling for spring break, for example, and that will be important to us on this health and safety issue.
Right, yeah, going right into that. So students are traveling all over the world for spring break. So going back to that, if there was somebody that came back with that, what signs can students look out for during that time?
Well, the challenge with COVID-19 is that it presents a lot like any other upper respiratory infection. So it can seem like the flu or like a cold. And our healthcare professionals in the community should be contacted, and people should be seen and screened if there's any risk at all. And if someone were identified as carrying the coronavirus, then there would be a set of steps that would probably include quarantine. All of that's been discussed in Adams County and here at QU, and we'll be ready to take on whatever the challenges are. We're delighted at the moment that there is no outbreak anywhere close to us, and we'll work hard to keep everyone safe here at QU.
Right, good, good. We're going to keep all of our students safe. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Have a great day.
Speaking of students leaving for spring break, catching a flight home might be a little easier now that one airline is waiving flight cancellation fees. As the industry is taking hits from the corona outbreak, they don't want to make matters worse. The airline says there will be no change fees for any flights booked between Tuesday and the end of March. If customers later decide to cancel, they can apply the ticket value towards another United flight for up to a year. The move comes after American, JetBlue, and Delta announced suspension of at least some of their fees. The outbreak is believed to be making a dent in bookings across the industry ahead of the spring break and Easter travel season. Up next, the housing lottery process has officially started. What you need to do to get your choice of living next year.
And do you have a mailbox in the QU mailroom? Well, a quick look to see who gets a mailbox and who doesn't.
Census. It's just 9 questions. It only takes 5 minutes.
There are 3 ways to respond: online, by phone, or by mail. And your responses help guide funding that affects our community.
Supporting key services in healthcare, creating jobs, aiding students in the classroom, and hundreds of other services. Help shape the future of Quincy and be counted.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. This is what they do.
Get down, get down!
They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives.
Without your Coast Guard, my family wouldn't be here today.
It's dangerous work. Sometimes in our own backyards, sometimes far from home. We're the Coast Guard Foundation. And in times of triumph or tragedy, we're here for them. The Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. We provide education, support, and relief for our defenders.
You want somebody to have your back, and the Coast Guard Foundation has always had our back.
Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
1 in 365 African Americans battle sickle cell disease. I was one of them. A blood stem cell transplant from a perfectly matched donor saved my life. Many patients are waiting to find their match. They need more Black donors to join the Be the Match registry. Learn more about becoming a donor and access free patient resources by visiting endsicklecell.org today. You or someone you know could be the cure.
Understanding the QU student mailroom can sometimes be difficult. QUTV reporter Abby Moore finds out how the mailroom determines who gets a mailbox.
There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes of the QU mailroom. That includes determining who gets a mailbox and which mailboxes are used. The mailroom staff labels vacant mailboxes with these orange slips.
They're placed there for empty mailboxes for students who might not be attending the university anymore, or if that mailbox is broken, we don't want to give that to a student. We want to make sure their mail is secure, obviously. So Shane uses those orange slips so that way it helps him to remember which mailboxes are open or need to be fixed.
Student Financial Aid says they do not have a connection with the mailroom when it comes to closing boxes, but the business office does.
So sometimes I'll just go down there and take a stroll through the mailboxes and look who those mailboxes are assigned to. And if I know that that student is no longer here, they didn't go through the formal withdrawal policy for whatever reason, I'll notify Shane and he closes that box so that way we can go ahead and start forwarding their mail rather than it sit there all semester and get forwarded at the end of the semester.
The mailroom staff say only certain students are allowed a mailbox.
We don't have mailboxes for commuter students. They don't get mailboxes. Only students who reside on campus get mailboxes.
Finley says the orange slips also keep the mailroom organized. Students on campus are able to access their mail at any time, but the mailroom hours are 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday and 8 to 4:30 on Fridays. Abby Moore, QUTV News, Quincy.
The housing selection process for next year is in full swing after spring break. Through today at 6 p.m., students need to draw a lottery number in the Student Success Center. Your lottery number determines when your name will be called to choose a space. The lower the number, the better chance you have of getting the space that you want. The numbers can be found in Andrea Gruger's office and will solidify your space in the housing lottery. On March 19th at Thursday at 5:30, the lottery will officially begin and the students will need to be in attendance to pick their space for next year.
The Quest Center would like to hear your thoughts on service learning. An email was sent out to students with a survey about Mobile Serve. Is the app beneficial? Do you know when service learning opportunities are available? The survey is due by April 1st, and students who complete the survey will be entered to win a prize. The coronavirus has also hit the stock markets hard.
The coronavirus has hit the stock markets hard. CNN reporter Maribel Arbor has the details.
The spread of the coronavirus sent the world's stock markets plunging. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all tumbled into a correction. And multiple 1,000-point losses on the Dow served to unnerve investors worried about stock portfolios and retirement accounts. But financial pros say rule number one, in time of intense volatility like this, don't panic. Instead, evaluate your situation before you make any moves that you may regret later. For starters, know your time horizon. If it's a 401k or retirement account you're worried about, that could be a long-term issue depending on your age. But goals may be the determining factor for whether you want to make a change to your stock portfolio. Think about when you want that money. If it's an immediate need, say you're house hunting and will soon want cash for a down payment, then it may make sense to shift some of the portfolio to less riskier investments. Another thing to consider, what's your risk tolerance? If you can deal with volatility, then you may be able to ride out the market's sharp swings. But if the up and downs are unnerving, you may want to consider safer investments. Either way, financial experts say the market drops from the virus is a reminder of why it makes sense to regularly evaluate your investments.
Up next, Alex Abashan is with us and has the weather.
And we'll take a look at baseball's opening weekend.
I am what child hunger looks like in America. I am a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites me to a sleepover so I can have dinner. I am a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks during lunch so my friends won't know I don't have anything to eat. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Hi, I'm the Big C. Hey, look at this beautiful couple. I knew as soon as I said that, I was like, don't say it, don't assume. Did you know more than 2 people die from skin cancer every hour?
Oh man.
It's a bummer, but the good news is skin cancer is a cancer you can see, so you can go get checked. You can check each other regularly, make it romantic. Turns out I'm a matchmaking mirror. You're welcome. Love might be in the air.
Beaches could be gone sooner than you think. Half of the world's beaches could disappear by the end of the century because of climate change. Researchers found that the rising sea levels would be the reason for erosion for many coastal areas. That includes beaches on the U.S. East Coast, South Asia, and Central Europe. We could see shorelines fall back by more than 300 feet. This climate change could be prevented by heat trapping gas pollution.
Yes, now from the Weather Center is Alex Abashan.
Alex, we've had pretty good weather this past week. What can we expect for next week? And then some, for spring break, is it going to be good or is it going to be bad?
It's going to be a lot better. We're about 2 weeks away, roughly, from spring officially beginning, and the temperature is starting to pick up a little bit. We're going to see a lot less 40s, some more 50s, and even some 60s. I'll take you over to the QUTV Weather Lab here and show you what we can expect. We're going to have a lot of sun, as I alluded to earlier, and the temperatures are going to start warming up a little bit as well. We're going to get, as I said, more 50s and 60s as we start making our way into spring break. So, today our temperature is 55 for a high and a low of 37. Our average temperature, 46 for a high and a low of 29. So as you can see, it's a little warmer than usual. Our record temperature for today, 1961, 73 degrees. Wouldn't that be nice? 1978, -8 for our record low. Very, very cold that day. Thankful that we don't have that now. Today, we've got mostly cloudy skies, a lot of sun out there, temperature in the mid-50s, as I alluded to earlier, and we've got winds out of the west-northwest at about 6 miles an hour. This evening, we can expect to see some more clouds. The temperature is going to go down a little bit. We're going to be in the upper 30s again, and we're going to have a westerly wind at about 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, we're going to have some clouds, and we're going to have a little bit more wind as well. The temperature is going to remain pretty consistent, right at 55 as it was today, but as you can see there, we're going to have some winds out of the south at 10 miles an hour as it just picks up a little bit. Friday, we're going to have some more sun. It's going to be 48 degrees, right underneath that 50-degree mark. Friday evening, it's going to cool down a little bit, just above freezing. We're going to get to 33. Saturday, more sun and more nice weather. It's going to be about 60 out, as you can see here. We're going to get into the 7-day forecast. We've got 55 today, 46 tomorrow, or 55 tomorrow, I should say, 46 on Friday. The weekend is going to be rather nice, in the 60s. Going into next week, we're going to have some scattered showers around as the temperature starts to fall off a little bit going into spring break. I took this picture outside just about an hour ago. It's a little cloudy. There's some sun. The weather is quite nice out, and we can expect to see a lot more of that moving forward.
Do you guys have any exciting spring break plans?
Sticking around here. So I like to see those temperatures and start seeing the spring weather come in.
Definitely. I will also be around here as most fall or spring sport athletes, I should say, are. We don't get a spring break. So.
Right. I mean, at least it looks like the weather will be decent if you are sticking around town.
Right.
Definitely.
Yep.
We had baseball at QU Stadium for the first time in 2020 over the weekend.
Shane Holsey will join us next with those highlights.
In March, households across the country will be invited to participate in the 2020 census. It only takes 5 minutes, and your responses help guide the future of our communities.
Helping fund public services like free and reduced lunches in the schools, hospitals and healthcare, fire and emergency response services, and hundreds of other programs.
Help shape the future of Quincy and be counted.
I'm Stan Gorence. I retired as a Major General in the United States Air Force.
I'm Frank Gorence. I retired as a general. We were lower middle class immigrant children from the South Side. I guarantee you there are people who grew up with us that looked at both of us and go, how did that happen? I know how it happens. Training, education, hard work, and performance, and boom, you're off to the races.
Never give up.
That's right. The American dream is alive and well.
Many stand hundreds of feet tall. Some are older than the country itself. Our national forests are a constant, beautifying the landscape, filtering the air we breathe, purifying our water supply, and cooling the climate. Forests are where we retreat to play, connect with one another, and commune with nature. We need our forests, and now more than ever, our forests need us. Fires, insects, and disease devastate our forests each year. That's why the Arbor Day Foundation is putting out the call to plant more trees and preserve and protect the ones we already have. Visit arborday.org and see how you can help make a difference in your neighborhood, our country, and our world.
Joining us for the final time before spring break is Sports Director Shane Holsey.
Shane, it was a beautiful weekend for baseball. I came out in just a light jacket, and it was amazing outside.
Oh, but was it ever? I mean, the weather was absolutely gorgeous this weekend. And also, the wind was blowing straight out to left field on Sunday. And the Hawks, they definitely took advantage of that beautiful day. After Riley Martin dealt for 8 innings on Saturday and an 8-0 Hawks win, the Hawks and Tritons returned to QU Stadium for a good old-fashioned doubleheader on Sunday. Mother Nature handed us a beautiful day for launching baseballs out of QU Stadium, and that's exactly what the Hawks did. To 18th in Spruce we go. The Tritons jumped out to a 4-1 lead in the second inning of Game 1, but the Hawks would hit their way back. Bottom of the third, runner on second, no outs for Lance Logsdon, and he ropes one down the right field line. That gets down for extra bases. Boy, Logsdon, he's had some kind of start to the season. Zach Parks comes around to score to make it 4-2 Tritons. Very next hitter, Justin Eads, he lifts one to deep right field, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Eads circles the pillows for the first time in 2020, and more importantly, he ties the game at 4, but Eads wasn't done yet. We jump ahead to the bottom of the 7th, still tied at 4. Eads jumps on a 3-1 fastball and launches it over the right center field wall for his second home run of the game, and he gives the Hawks a 5-4 lead, a lead they would not relinquish as they would add 3 more runs in the bottom of the 8th, and Jack Whithelm will close out an 8-4 Hawks victory. Logsdon went 3 for 5 and drove in 4 runs. Zach Parks went 4 for 5, and freshman Nolan Wassman added 3 hits and a 17-hit barrage by the Hawks. But they still had some unfinished business. To the series finale we go. The Hawks looking to cap off a doubleheader sweep and a series sweep in the process. Bottom of the 3rd, no score, runner on first for Nolan Wassman, and he's going to jump on the first pitch, and he's going to absolutely unload on one, an absolute bomb to left field off the bat of Wassman, and the Hawks pick up right where they left off. It's 2-0. Bottom 4, same score. Catcher Matt Westfall up with a runner on second. Westfall mashes this one. This one is ticketed for the parking lot. A 2-run shot for Westfall, and the Hawks lead is doubled to 4-0. They jump ahead to the bottom of the 7th now. Bases juiced for Lance Logsdon. This is going to be an outside pitch. But Logsdon yanks it to right anyway. A long one off. Oh, we have some problems here. But Logsdon, that grand slam, will push the Hawks lead to 8-1. And Justin Eads would add another one for good measure just 2 pitches later. And the Hawks would go on to win 9-1. Back-to-back jacks for Logsdon and Eads. And in a span of 3 pitches, the Hawks lead jumped from 4-1 to 9-1. And as I mentioned, they're going to win by that score, completing the series sweep of the Tritons. Sophomore starter Jay Hamill was solid in this one as well, tossing 6 innings of one-run ball to pick up his 2nd win of the season. Now, unfortunately, the Hawks' win streak would end at 3 as they fell 7-3 in Game 1 of a doubleheader with Missouri Western on Tuesday. Logsdon hit his 3rd home run in as many days, but it was just a solo shot this time. Hawks pitchers struggled, surrendering 12 hits, walking 4, and hitting 3 batters in the 7-inning game. The Hawks would bounce back in Game 2, though, as they ran away to a 7-2 victory. Eads and Gino D'Alessio both homered, and freshman Nolan Roseman pitched 5 innings and gave up just 1 run. The Hawks stay at home this weekend as they open up GOVC play against Bellarmine, a matchup of 1 and 2 in the preseason GOVC poll. Should be a fun weekend series here in the Gym City. On the college hardwood, the QU men's basketball team closed out their season with an 83-73 victory over Maryville. Victor Kovakovic had a career day with 31 points and 10 rebounds, and get this, 8 for 12 from 3-point range. Absolutely lighting it up from downtown. The Hawks finished with a 14-14 record, a 5-win improvement from last season. Now, much of the core will return for 2020-2021 as the Hawks only graduate to seniors Trevor Minnie and Aziz Fadika. The Hawks women's basketball team closed their season with a 78-53 loss to Maryville. Alexa Lowe notched 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks in her final game as a Hawk. And the Hawks finished with a 7-21 record, a 2-win improvement from last season. The Quincy University track team has never had a GOVC champion until now. At the GOVC Indoor Track and Field Championships, QU freshman Gemini Archer ran the 200 meters in 22.18 seconds to capture the school's first ever GOVC championship. Here's how it sounded on the GOVC Sports Network.
He's already made up the stagger on Sales. He'll have the inside track. This could be Quincy's first ever GLVC champion, Gemini Archer. Sales closes late, but Archer will take it.
The Hawks await the announcement of the qualifiers for the upcoming 2020 Division II Men's and Women's Indoor Track and Field Championships, which are scheduled for March 13th and 14th in Birmingham, Alabama. In women's lacrosse news, QU goalkeeper Kelly McClure has been named GOVC Defensive Player of the Week. The freshman netminder stopped 28 shots and compiled a .549 save percentage in 2 games. Now, 4 of those saves came in the final 5 minutes of Saturday's 10-9 victory over Oklahoma Baptist. This is the first weekly honor of McClure's career and the first in QU women's lacrosse history. The Hawks softball team took on Bemidji State last Friday at the Louisville Slugger Dome in Peoria, Illinois. QU dropped the first game 3-2. Now they got the tying run to third base with 2 outs in the top of the 7th, but Ashley Gerber flew out to center to end the ball game. The Hawks again fell in game 2, this time by a 7-1 score. Chelsea Hooker hit a solo home run in the bottom of the 1st, but the Hawks gave up 7 unanswered runs after that. QU hits the road once again this weekend as they head to Winter Haven, Florida to compete in the spring games. The Hawks will play 8 games beginning on Friday and running through next Tuesday. On the hardwood at Pepsi Arena, the Hawks men's volleyball team welcomed the Buckeyes of The Ohio State University. The Buckeyes swept the Hawks 25-17, 25-23, 25-16. Then on Saturday, the Ball State Cardinals swept the Hawks 25-20, 25-18, 25-20. Amari Wheeler led the Hawks with 11 kills. Now another note, QU women's tennis team won both their matches over the weekend. They head to Orlando over spring break, so they'll be headed out on Sunday.
So it seems like a couple teams get to go to Florida. That's super nice. I'd take that.
I'd take a trip to Florida any day, especially if you're playing a college sport. So I don't feel too bad for them.
All right. Thank you, Shane. Sounds like a lot was going on in Hawk Athletics this past weekend.
Coming up, QU faculty and staff members share their favorite part about QU.
In March, households across the country will be invited to participate in the 2020 census. It only takes 5 minutes, and your responses help guide the future of our communities.
Helping fund public services like free and reduced lunches in the schools, hospitals and healthcare, fire and emergency response services, and hundreds of other programs.
Help shape the future of Quincy and be counted.
Wonder if you should get tested for colorectal cancer?
Is it really that common?
It is. It's the second leading cancer killer in the U.S.
I don't have symptoms.
It doesn't always cause symptoms, especially early on. And screening helps prevent the disease.
Oh? How?
By finding precancerous polyps so they can be removed.
But that test.
There's more than one screening test. If you're 50 or older, talk to your doctor about which one is right for you. Colorectal cancer screening really does save lives.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to strengthen our service members? What does it take to let them know that we stand behind them, wherever they are? What does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? And what does it take to prepare them for their future when their service to the nation is complete? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Share a message today at force.uso.org.
What's your favorite thing about QU? QTV reporter Chloe Knott took us to Francis Hall to find out what some of our faculty and staff think.
Favorite thing about QU is the community. The students, the staff, the faculty really make this a terrific place to work at. Everyone is really friendly. We're all in this together. We all are working toward a common goal. And that's really why I love working at QU, is because everyone here truly is part of a great community.
We've got students who are willing to be diligent to achieve their education.
My favorite part of working at Quincy University is the impact that admissions gets to make on all these students' lives.
So my favorite part of working at Quincy University is definitely the students that I've had a chance to meet. Every student that I've worked with has a different story. They come from a different area. They're here for one reason or another, but ultimately the students who do stay on campus really find their niche here and really do wonderful things, not for the community, but also in their future lives too. So definitely it's the students that keep me coming back every day. So
I love everything about QU. I wake up every morning right here on campus with hundreds of students ready to face the day and enjoy this beautiful campus and enjoy this great town. But my very favorite thing about Quincy University is the students who I get to visit with in the cafeteria, see in the hallways, and enjoy their wonderful people, and they make my job worth doing and a whole lot of fun.
If you notice, they all say in one way or another that students are their favorite part. That's pretty darn cool.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely, Shane. As a child of 2 lifetime educators, my parents would always tell me, son, don't get into education for the money. It's for the students. And I think that, the Quincy University educators here, they really, embody that image.
Definitely, yeah, it warms my heart knowing that they appreciate us and we appreciate them too as well.
It's always good to see. I'd be curious if we did the same thing with students, what kind of things they'd have to say about their professors.
That'd be interesting.
So students, let us know on Facebook comment section what your favorite part about QU is. Thank you for joining us on QTV News this week. For Alex and Shane, I'm Alexa Lowe.
And I'm Taylor King. Make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We'll see you when we get back from spring break, and have a good one.